course, if you are working in customer experience, I cannot make a series about customer experience without talking about the Net Promoter Score. I just want to mention that I have a more extensive slide share video where I share with you all, let's say, the risks of using the Net Promoter Score. So here I will try to summarize the essence of what you need to know if you're using Net Promoter Score. And based on my intro, maybe you can already hear that I'm not the biggest fan of Net Promoter Score, but I think what's more important, I see that the NPS is not being used how it should be used. So how should you use it? For me, once a year, maybe maximum twice a year, but I always advise once a year, just as a sanity check for all your customer base. So for me, it's really a brand experience metric. I see too many companies measuring so-called transactional NPS. I would really advise you to stop doing that. It's super volatile. And when you ask me to recommend you, right, I'm not just thinking about this one call. Based on this call, would you recommend us? Right. So my advice: don't use a transactional NPS. So that's one of the key issues. If you use it for brand experience and use customer satisfaction on your journeys, which I'll explain in the customer satisfaction video. Customer effort score for UX, for example, but no transactional NPS, please. I have not seen it work really well in practice, right? I see a lot of companies struggling. It's super volatile. They don't really know what is causing it, how they can improve it. So those are some of the challenges. Maybe going back to the beginning, how did the NPS come about? Right, so Frederick Reichheld, he created a Net Promoter Score, and it's actually a question: would you recommend company X to friends and family? And then the scale is on a 0 to 10. So normally you would get like a 7.2 or 7.3 scores, but what did Reichheld create? Because what they saw in the data is that customers that rate you 9 or 10, their profitability, so this really comes from a B2B context originally, they saw that the profitability of customers that gave 9 or more, which was way higher than customers that gave a lower score. So what did he say? He said, well, I want to create one simple metric, so I'm going to compare the percentage of customers that gives a 9 and 10 with the percentage that give us a 0 to 6. Right, so I detract this percentage, let's say the not happy ones from the happy ones, and that means I can get an NPS from minus 100 to plus 100 in the most extreme scenarios. So another issue with NPS, you might recognize that it's really volatile, is because of this way of calculating, right? Because most customers are on a 7 and an 8. So when you only move the percentage a little, right, if a few more people start giving a 9 and 10 or giving a lower score, your NPS will go up or down really, really strongly because you're missing the biggest number of people. So here one tip that I always give is, okay, if your board is, let's say, married to the NPS score, just also create a shadow metric where you just do the average score of the NPS, right? So that's 7.1 or that's 7.9. So just the average on 0 to 10 of all your customers, because that's way more stable, and then you get a better idea of what's actually the trend, right? It's less volatile. So for me, as I mentioned, Net Promoter Score, if you use it, only use it for brand experience once a year. But more importantly, I think the biggest issue with NPS is the root cause technique. So if you use the NPS, I've also made a separate video about a root cause and another video about driver analysis. The way to figure out how to enhance NPS is really flawed. So the root cause analysis of having a drop-down list of, why are you giving this score? It was customer service. It was maybe the back office. Maybe it was the website. That way of figuring out what really matters is not the best way to get hard steerable data, right? There are several issues that either people will answer rationally and customers honestly will think, yes, it was customer service, while their subconscious latent need is something very different. You don't know if your list with root causes is complete, maybe there's a seventh or eighth reason that you don't have on your radar. So for me, if you use the NPS, make sure you use it in the correct way. Don't use transactional NPS. Definitely don't use it for your digital channels. Only use it for brand to see, hey, all the activities that we're doing with customer journeys, with the website, with employee experience, hey, they are enhancing, right, the amount of people that want to recommend us. So this is just your sanity check. This is not a tool to understand what do I need to do to enhance NPS as such, right? You do that with all the different journeys. So I think those are the key, let's say, the key summarizing topics for NPS. If you want to know more, check out the slide shares. I'll put a link in the description, where I walk you through all the different perspectives on NPS. And there's also one calculation in that slide deck that I think you will find really interesting, that a lot of people are not aware of. I will leave you on that cliffhanger. Well, thank you so much for joining, Andrea.